How thin are the new C6 Agility Shin Guards? Let's find out. About that thin. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review of what, in my opinion, are quite simply the best shin guards ever made in terms of being the thinnest, lightest, and strongest available, the brand new 4th generation C6 Agility carbon fiber shin guards. They took the 3rd generation of this product, which was pretty much perfect to begin with, and somehow made improvements that make them that much better. We'll talk about what those changes are in today's video and what makes these so good in the first place. So if you want to learn more, please stick around and watch the entire video. And if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can click the first link down below or the little pop-up in the corner of the screen. That'll take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick up these brand new C6 Agility shin guards below their normal $145 retail price. With a coupon code, they end up being $130. So still very, very expensive, but if you really are looking for the best shin guards on the market, they are well worth the money. Also, just so you know, they still have some 3rd generation ones available that are now on sale. So instead of the normal $145 retail price, with an SR4U coupon code, you can get them for about $103. Again, if you're interested in these, it's the first link down below. If you guys do end up enjoying this video and perhaps want to see more shin guard reviews on the channel, don't forget to support this one with a like. And if you're new here watching for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. Now let me start off by saying that I do not think that anybody needs $145 shin guards. This is not a necessity item at all, just like nobody needs $300 soccer cleats. However, plenty of people buy them because that's what they want. That's kind of how I view this product and how you should view this product as well. Yes, you can go buy $8 Nike J guards that are going to act as shin guards. They're going to serve the same purpose. They're not going to be as thin. They're not going to be as protective for sure, but they get the job done. If you're one of those people that can't justify spending a lot of money on shin guards, then by no means would I expect you to buy these. However, if you are a soccer equipment enthusiast and you really want the best of the best as far as shin guards go, maybe you've broken your leg before. Something like this, while it's expensive, might be worth it to you because these are legitimately the strongest shin guards as far as the shell is concerned, but at the same time, they're super thin and super lightweight to the point where you're getting that maximum protection but without really feeling like it's on your legs at all. If that's something that you're looking for, then yes, the price tag is worth it. If that's not something that you're after, then these simply aren't for you. Also, for the tough guys out there that think protective shin guards are for wimps, that's just dumb logic. If you're going to wear shin guards in the first place, why not have them be as protective as possible? Now, if you've never heard of C6 Agility, here's what you need to know. It's an American-based company that's been around for quite a few years now that specializes in carbon fiber shin guards. Now, all their carbon fiber shin guards, unlike what we've seen from Nike in the past with the Mercurial Blade shin guard, it's made 100% out of aerospace grade carbon fiber with no fillers, no plastic. It's not like the Nike Mercurial Blades that we had in the past that was like 1 or 2 very thin layers of carbon and then pretty much just a plastic shell that was translucent so you could see the carbon fiber. This is pure carbon, which is why they're so strong, why they're so thin, and why they're so lightweight as well. There's a really, really big difference if you're comparing this to any other carbon fiber products on the market right now. Also, all of their products are handmade in the US, which carbon fiber needs to have a handmade element to it. It's actually very, very time consuming to manufacture something like this and also very expensive, which is part of the reason why we've never seen anything like it from some of the big brands because they wouldn't necessarily deem it to be worth it. And it also is part of the reason why these are expensive from C6 Agility is because they're legitimately expensive to make, but the best of the best as far as quality and materials are concerned. Now, their top of the line shin guards come in 2 different variations. The speed version, which is a little bit smaller if you prefer something that isn't quite as big on your shins, and the max variation, which is obviously a little bit bigger, both in terms of height, as well as how far it wraps around the front of your legs. So you get a little bit more coverage, a little bit more protection, depending on what your preference is. Personally, I use the speed ones just because I prefer slightly smaller shin guards, but even with that preference, I have no issues wearing the max variation either. If I really wanted maximum protection, this is the one that I would go for. They're both available in small, medium, and large, both in the speed and max variations. And if you're looking for specific sizing, because obviously they're quite expensive and you do have to buy them online, there's a sizing chart on their website that lets you know which size you need based on your height. And there's even a curvature verification test that you can print out to see the different curvatures of each size shin guard, so you can actually match it up with your shins to see which size is going to fit you the best, not only in terms of coverage, but also in regards to how closely the shin guard matches the shape of your shins, which is extremely important and very, very helpful in terms of getting the proper sizing and fit. So you're probably wondering what the improvements are coming from the third to the fourth generation of this product. And what they've done is they've actually added more layers of carbon fiber to the extremely thin shell that make these way stronger than the third generation ones, which honestly, I thought those were already really, really stiff. I have the third gen ones right here, and you can see when I try to like close it, there's definitely a little bit of flex to it, but it's extremely rigid. Whereas the fourth generation one, when I try to squeeze this, it pretty much has no give to it whatsoever. These things are the strongest shin guards that I've ever held in my hands, but at the same time, they are remarkably thin. Now from this angle, you can actually see the thickness of the shin guards, and just as a reference, I have a pen tip right here, which is pretty much the same thickness as the shin guards. They're 3 millimeters thin, the equivalent of about 1/8 of an inch. And if you look very closely, you can actually see the side profile of the shell, which is layers and layers and layers of carbon fiber that makes for a thickness of maybe 0.5 millimeter, maybe less than that. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Most of the thickness of the shin guard is coming from the liner itself, which is a Poron XRD foam. We'll get into that in just a second. But basically, they are super thin and super, super strong. So the sensation that you get when you're wearing these is like you're not wearing any shin guards at all, but when you actually get kicked in the shins, you'll definitely notice that there is some pretty crazy protection here. By the way, they added more layers of carbon fiber without really adding any thickness that you're gonna be able to notice. I have the third generation one on the bottom, the fourth generation one on the top, and you can see side by side, the thickness is pretty much identical. Which brings us to the second improvement, the backing material as well as the liner. The third generation, which I have right here, uses a Poron XRD backing material and then a liner of a Durawick that has a little bit of a micro texture to it. It's slightly rubbery and it feels really, really good. The fourth generation shin guard uses a slightly different variation of Poron XRD foam that doesn't absorb as much water, although honestly, based on using these and the old ones, I really don't feel like they absorb any kind of moisture as it is, so it's not really much of an issue, which is great because if you're playing in a tournament and your shin guards tend to get really soaked, these pretty much never feel wet. There'll be a little bit of moisture when you pull them off after wearing them, but it dries up after about 10 minutes and they're pretty much good to go and perfectly dry. As far as the lining is concerned though, it's still that Durawick material with a rubberized texturing. This has a little bit more of a rubber feel to it, but you can see it's got these grooves etched out throughout the entire liner, so when you do get any kind of buildup of sweat, it kind of just falls into the cracks and then out the edges of the shin guard, again, not allowing moisture to sit on the surface of that liner. It also grips your shins a little bit better, which helps to hold them in place. And again, it's a nice improvement over something that I thought was already good with the third generation version of the product. Which brings us to the weight of the shin guards, which is obviously very important, especially considering that they are super thin carbon fiber. The third generation variation of the shin guard in the speed version, size large, weighs in at 1.4 ounces, the equivalent of 39 grams, ridiculously lightweight. Now the fourth generation shin guard, also the speed version, also a size large. You can see side by side, they're pretty much identical, but they are in fact third and fourth generation. The reason why these are gonna weigh a little bit more is again, they actually added more layers of carbon to the shell to make it that much stronger. So in that same size, these now weigh 1.5 ounces, the equivalent of 43 grams. So 4 grams heavier than the third generation version of the shin guard. Is that a big deal? You're not really gonna feel 4 grams in my opinion, either in hand or while you're wearing them on your legs especially. So still, in regards to being super thin and super light, nothing really comes close to these. Now, as for the fourth generation max variation of the shin guard, I have it right here in the large size, which is the biggest version of all their shin guards, which means it's also going to be the heaviest. More material, obviously it's gonna weigh a little bit more. These guys weigh in at 2.3 ounces, the equivalent of 66 grams, which is obviously gonna be more than the speed variation because they are bigger and provide more coverage. But for a shin guard that provides as much protection and coverage as these do, 66 grams is pretty much not noticeable whatsoever when you're wearing them. So again, if you're looking for maximum protection with minimal bulk, nothing does that better than these. Now, fit is something that is often overlooked when it comes to shin guards, but these C6 Agility ones fit better than pretty much any other shin guards that I've ever used. And again, it's very important that you check out all the sizing information and even print out that curvature verification form so you can actually get the exact proper fit, because that's super important in regards to how much protection you're gonna have, as well as how well the shin guards are going to stay in place. given that you have the proper sizing, they stay in place better than any other shin guards that I've ever used because of how thin and because of how light they are. Again, whether you go for max or speed, I find that they both fit equally well. It's really a matter of preference as far as coverage is concerned. But again, the fit, absolutely fantastic. By the way, they're also anatomically shaped for both the right and left leg and are clearly labeled right there on the front. As far as negatives go, obviously they're quite expensive, which means that not everyone's going to be able to afford them or even necessarily be able to justify the price tag. And also, considering that the price is as high as it is, they don't come with any extras as far as sleeves or any way to hold them in place. Now, I will say that because of how thin and light they are, if your socks are really tight and if you're not too picky about shin guards staying in place in general, you can probably get away with just putting your socks on top and they'll hold in place if your socks are tight enough. Personally, I use Storelli Body Shield leg sleeves to hold these in place, at least the speed variation. You can get away with using them with the max version as well, but you'll have to use it as a sleeve over top of your leg rather than using the pocket. C6 Agility also sells their own sleeves separately. They're actually very good in terms of overall quality and quite durable as well. So that's not a bad option if you just want to get it all from the same manufacturer. And you can also use tape, but the fact that they don't come with anything considering how expensive they are to hold them in place, that to me is something that definitely could be improved. So in conclusion, I think these are the best shin guards that money can buy. Obviously they are a lot of money, but if you can justify the price, I definitely think they're worth it. I also think it's worth pointing out that if you already have the 3rd generation C6 Agility shin guards or even the 1st or 2nd generation, it's not necessarily worth the upgrade for the 4th gen, in my opinion. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd generation versions of these shin guards are absolutely fantastic. There's not a huge difference between them. They do get progressively better with each new version, and I definitely think the 4th gen one is the best. But if you already have one of the older versions, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's worth it for the upgrade unless it's something that you really want. If you're buying C6 Agility shin guards for the first time, personally, I think it's worth a little bit of extra money to get the 4th gen over the 3rd gen based on the improvements that they've made. However, if you are on a tighter budget and still want to spend $100 on shin guards, getting the 3rd gen ones while they're on sale and still available is definitely not a bad deal either. Both really solid shin guards, but definitely the 4th generation is just that much better. Anyways, guys, that is it for my review. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links for the 3rd gen and 4th gen variations of the shin guards, along with SR4U coupon codes, where you can save yourself a little bit of money, something that you will not find on these products anywhere else. If you guys do have any questions regarding C6 Agility products, leave them down below in the comments and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to support it with a like and subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. All my social media information, that's linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.